I help CEOs, founders, and entrepreneurs actually determine what are the blind spots that's actually preventing them from becoming the best version of themselves. I was number one in the world. I broke records. I did more than anybody else did. And on the day that they were celebrating me in front of thousands of people, I got up and I quit the company. Coaches should hire coaches. If a coach has never hired a coach, he may not be the coach for you because every coach should have a coach. And I tell people it's okay not to be okay.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Welcome to The Business Game,
a podcast that moves the needle.
You know what? I think there's a pain point that all businesses have that quietly eats away at their time. Do you know what it is?
No.
Scheduling.
Oh, absolutely. Staff rosters, equipment, logistics, compliance. It never ends.
No, totally. That's what I love about what TraffTrack is doing. They make complex scheduling simple with smart, intuitive software, all handled remotely, right? In real time on both the desktop and the app, right? The app as well. So everyone stays in sync.
And their team gets it. They've worked in industries like construction, logistics, and events,
Yep.
so they know the pain firsthand.
Yep. Now, it's just smooth, smart, and stress-free. Who doesn't want that? So check them out at trafftrack.com. And thank you, TraffTrack, for supporting The Business Game.
Hello, and welcome to The Business Game, a podcast that moves the needle. I'm Kalena, Stano.
I'm Steve Plummer.
And before we get started today, make sure to like and subscribe wherever you're listening. Today, we are joined by Curtis McCullom, founder of Bespoke Human Potential Coaching. Hi, Curtis. Thanks for joining us. How are you?
Thank you, Kalena and Steve. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure.
So to get things started, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and about what you do, Curtis?
Basically, I am a bespoke human potential coach. I help CEOs, founders, and entrepreneurs actually determine what are the blind spots that's actually preventing them from becoming the best version of themselves. And I specialize in accelerated change by utilizing modalities like hypnotherapy, neuro-linguistic programming, and mental and emotional release. These science and then these modalities help us make change quick, fast, and get CEOs going and actually increasing their income, increasing their lifestyle and their mindset quickly and easily.
Amazing. So to begin, can you take us back to your childhood and sort of give a bit of a background on what sort of led you to this path and how you got here?
Yes. I mean, I was born and raised in Mississippi, in the States, and Mississippi is actually a southern state, and that's where I was born and raised. My father was a preacher,
Wow.
so I grew up around speaking and things in the Bible and all of these things, especially in the South of Mississippi. I've had a lot of success in my life, and I started actually practicing visualization when I was in high school and early in my college days, where I visualized myself becoming number one in the world in in the nation or in the state in track and field, and I did. And then I went to college, and then I went to my first job I was on a 5-year track, and I visualized myself finishing and completing it faster and quicker than anybody else, and I did. And then I went in sales. My first job was in sales. My job was in sales because I wanted to become a motivational speaker and a sales trainer. So I said, well, for me to do is do some sales. So I went, and when I got to the company, the first thing I did was in my cohort, I stood before my class and gave them my number one speech. Granted, I've never sold anything in my life, but I saw myself becoming the number one agent in that company. And 18 months later, I was. And what I used to do that was what I teach today. I use hypnotherapy, and I use neuro-linguistic programming. At that time, those are the modalities I used to kind of become who I am. Now, fast forwarding, it was a 40-year journey to get here. I stayed in financial services. I didn't quit. Stayed in financial services for years, about 35 years. And then about 6 years ago, me and my wife, we were financially able for me to just quit and do what I always loved doing. That's doing what I'm doing. So I went back and got a certification as a clinical hypnotherapist. I'm a master practitioner in neuro-linguistic programming and also a master practitioner in mental and emotional release. And so I put all those modalities together along with being a certified executive coach to kind of formulate what I do today.
Wow.
All right, fantastic. That is so interesting.
I love it.
Yeah. So looking back across those 35 years in sales, leadership, personal development, Curtis, what would you identify as, I guess, the standout milestones in your career so far?
Probably the standout milestone was the one when I became number one in the world was standout because of the fact that no one had did that, and I did it quicker and faster than anyone and breaking records along the way. And then, but this is the thing about success and failures. We might talk a little bit about that too, is that even though I was number one in the world, I still had a blind spot. So what happens is even when we have success in our lives, that does not prevent the inner chatter and the limiting beliefs to kind of creep in and kind of sabotage what we did. I'm going to tell you how bad I sabotaged that. I was number one in the world. I broke records. I did more than anybody else did. And on the day that they were celebrating me in front of thousands of people, I got up and I quit the company.
Wow.
Wow.
So that was a major sabotage because I had some childhood issues. I had some father things that I was dealing with, and I had always thinking that everybody was after me and so on and so forth, and I quit. So even though I had great success, and most entrepreneurs do, they can still have blind spots that's actually dragging them around or kind of preventing them from actually becoming the best version of themselves.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow.
Can you walk us through what prompted you exactly to move from being a sales leader to being the mindset and transformation expert that you are now?
Well, like I said, this is what I've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then when I got in, what I did was when I quit financial services, I said, I go into coaching. So I got a certification as an executive coach. And I hated it. I'm like, this is not what I thought coaching was all about.
Sure.
You know, it's like, it was not my model. Then I stopped and said, okay, what did I do? What was it that drove me? What was it that gave me the success all my life? And that's when I said, okay, I got to go back to my roots of who I am, be authentic to who I've always been. And that was hypnotherapy, neuro-linguistic programming, and timeline therapy or mental and emotional release. That's when I went back to put those together to kind of formulate what we have today. And it is still a work in progress because it's something ever changing.
Yeah.
Can you just talk us through a little bit, Curtis, about what that actually all means? Because you've got so many qualifications, the clinical hypnotherapy, NLP, et cetera, et cetera. Was there a moment where you discovered that, I guess, by themselves, they're good, but they're not all there is, and yet together you could put this beautiful soup together that actually worked a lot better? And so can you just talk us through how that evolved from where you were to where you are today?
That's a great question. You think about, change, right? And most coaches, they coach based on a cognitive type coach. What I mean cognitive is like, okay, what's your goal today? And a person tells them their goal. Okay, what did you do last week? What can we do? What's something that could be blocking you? Well, what I learned was that's good, but what could be better if we can speak directly to the subconscious mind versus the conscious. Remember that 5% of most of our behavior, according to Dr. Bruce Lipton in the biology of beliefs, he states that about 95% of our thinking, our being that actually controls our behavior is in our subconscious, and only 5% of it is conscious. So I thought that it would be more conducive to work with the 95% versus the 5%. so that's how we can get exponential growth and exponential results quickly.
Uh-huh.
I'm interested. Let's look back at your business journey. There's a lot of wins on the table for you, but I
Yes.
don't think I can use the word failure in this conversation, but I'm going to use it just for lack of a better term. But has there been any major or one major sort of moment that was a big failure for you?
Let's use this one as Kalena. Let's use setback. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. I like that. Okay. What was the biggest setback?
That was a big setback. Well, think about it. We all have heartbreaks, setbacks, and failures, right?
Yes.
It's how we look at them.
I like that. Reframing.
It's all about reframing. It's like, it's a setback, meaning, and what I learned from this is that sometimes we have setbacks to have set-ups.
Ooh, I like that.
So the setback sets you up for success. Now, one of the challenges I had as being a new coach and not understanding this industry, because I was in financial services and, I could sell, I can do all these things. I have great charisma. I do all that. Great. But when you come to this, I didn't know. And everybody was shooting on me. You should do You should do that. You should do that. And I spent thousands of dollars on running and chasing after ideas that people told me that I should be doing.
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest learning experiences that I've had in this business. And what happened was I got to the point where I just fired everyone that was around me and started from scratch and took the reins myself and said, okay, I'm going to learn how to do this so that now I know what I don't know, so that I know I can at least tell the person that can do it better, faster than me, what I want. One of the biggest challenges that most entrepreneurs have is that we don't even know what we don't know.
Oh, so true.
Yeah.
And then other people come in and tell us what they think that they want to sell us, or what they think that we should know.
Yes.
And that's not what we need.
Yeah.
So that biggest setback for me was, but then when I look back at it, this is what I've learned though, is that I wouldn't be the guy that I am today if I had a different journey.
Yeah. So true.
So even though I'm telling you, there was a lot of, tears and like, oh my God, what am I doing? And the money is flying out and all these things is like, but still, I look back now, it's like, wow, I couldn't do what I do now. I couldn't use AI like I use AI now because of the fact that I've learned some things. I couldn't do a funnel. I couldn't do a landing page before. It's because I thought that if I threw money at it, that people who call themselves professionals would know what to do, that would solve my problems. They didn't. So that was one of if you said a big setback, that was one of the biggest setbacks that I've experienced.
Wow.
All right, let's flip the coin on that. I'll go good cop. You were bad cop there with that, Kalena. So let's flip the coin a bit with that, Curtis. So one of your most, I guess, accelerated growth years, what revenue milestone did you hit? And what key decisions or mindset shifts drove that big leap?
The biggest shift was being authentic.
Mm-hmm.
That's what really changed everything for me.
What does that mean?
What that means is, to give you some context, is when I was growing up, as I said, I told you I was a country boy from Mississippi, this southern town. My dad was a fire and brimstone preacher. And so I always wanted to make sure that I never did anything to embarrass my parents. But at the same time, I put myself in a box. I used to go to school in high school and junior high school. High school, I never wore tennis shoes. I always wore shoes. I wore a tie every day. I had a nice little handkerchief decoration on my shirt, and my shoes were shined every day. And I walked like, hey, I got it all together. and I was never authentic. I never had fun. I never did anything that, when people were cheering at the pep squad, doing the football games, I would do like this. Like, hey, I'm cool. I got it all together. And that carried on through my coaching. I hired a coach to kind of help me through that. That's why it's so important. Coaches should hire coaches. If a coach has never hired a coach, he may not be the coach for you, because every coach should have a coach. And I hired a coach to kind of see, because one of my podcasters came on my show and says, look, it's hard for you to read the label when you're inside the jar. So it's kind of hard for me to see what I needed by me trying to diagnose myself. Well, one of the things that she taught me was drop the mask. Drop the mask. Meaning just be authentic to who I am. And one of my affirmations that I wrote for myself many years ago is, I'm looking for people who are looking for me. And being courteous, being authentic to who I am is more than enough.
I love that.
So what else did that mean then for Curtis, mask-wearing Curtis and authentic Curtis? What's the difference between the two of those?
The difference is that I can be me. It's like one of the things that, like I was telling you, everybody's telling me what I should do and all this stuff. And it's interesting now that people are gravitating to me because of the fact that I'm authentically Curtis. I let people know that this journey that we're on, I have setbacks and I have heartbreaks and I have situations where I have to cry sometimes too. And I tell people it's okay not to be okay. Sometimes people think it's not okay. Sometimes people put on this, we go on TikTok and we go on Instagram and we like show people, oh, look at my Rolex, look at all of my car, look at this. And then we go and we once the cameras go off, all the stuff that they have is rented. So people think that that's what success is all about. Mm. So my thing is, no, I'm just going to be Curtis, and I'm looking for people who are looking for me. And that way is that, wow, it just, number one, it releases me from trying to be someone else, trying to be like someone else. It just allows me to be me, and that frees me. It's freedom for me to just be like, right. I used to, when I'm on podcasts, y'all would have on a coat, I would have on this, because I was still had that mentality that I have to dress a certain way or be a certain way and do these things. No, when I don't feel like it, this is what I feel like wearing today, is like just a nice shirt. I'm okay with that.
And did that make you, I guess, more magnetic to your market then, did it? Because you were energetically pure. That sounds really, really woo-woo, but did that?
Oh, it's not, and that's what I'm saying. It's not woo-woo. That's real.
It's real. Yeah.
That's real. This is the thing, Steve. And one of the concepts I teach in sales is selling is not selling. Selling is transference of energy.
Ooh.
Yes.
So basically, this is the thing, is that until we get our energy in line with who we are, so that we can actually, people can see, sense, and feel our energy. They don't buy products. They buy you. They buy the energy. They buy what they see and sense from you. Sometimes people have the worst. Have you saw it? Some people have the worst products. They shouldn't even be selling them, but people buy them.
Oh, yeah.
Because of the fact that they're they still drawing people to them.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the whole idea is that's not a woo-woo thing. That's a real thing. Energy is real. And what I used to do when I was in sales, think about it now, you may not know it or may not see it, is that I'm African-American. I'm a Black guy. and most of my clients when I was working in financial services were 65-year-old white women. So think about it. I'm a 6-foot tall guy, Black guy. And so we used to do these workshops, go into these workshops, and I would do these workshops on financial services and on selling annuities and stuff. And so these people would invite me to their house, and then we would get in their car, And we would go to the bank, and I'm standing beside them or behind them, and they have to take money out, maybe $100,000, $200,000 out. And the teller's looking at her and looking at me. It's like, okay, what the heck is going on? And then the teller would get them in little problems. They would look back at me and says, Curtis, is it okay? And I said, yes, it's okay, because we've already talked about it. Then we will walk out of the bank, go get back into their car. I would go back to their house. They would give me cookies and cakes, give me a kiss, and thank me for taking their $100,000 or $200,000. Why? Energy.
Yeah.
They liked and trusted me.
Love that.
So that's what comes from, Steve, is like that's the key to it, is once you drop the persona and people just be who you are. And it's, like I tell people all the time, it's okay not to be okay. But then I also tell people it's okay not to be okay, but it's not okay to pretend that you're okay and you're not. That's when the energy that's when you lose the energy and have a lot of other challenges that people have.
Do you get pushback from that though? You know, in a sales environment, we've got to make targets and and you're talking energy stuff. Do you get pushback in the work that you do with your clients you have?
Oh, no. I'm in the middle right now of, we just had a breakthrough with a gentleman yesterday, and he never experienced anything like this. And his testimony yesterday, he wrote me the morning after, and we did my breakthroughs. Usually what I do as a coach, the first day, we do a 3-hour, 1-day mindset reset. So what I do in my first coaching session is that we get together and we figure out what is the greater problem that's driving your behavior. You're coming to me with issues. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. I'm not making the money I want. What is it that's driving these thought patterns? So we go to about 3 hours, and then the last half of hours is that we're doing mental and emotional release. And now we clearing all the baggage, the guilt, the sadness, the anger, the shame, the I'm not good enough. We clear all of that stuff out. So we clear it out. So then now you have clear energy, and you have clear, like your field has now been tilted, and the ground has been turned over. And this is what he wrote me. He said, this is important. He says, "Good morning, Curtis. I want to give you a massive thank you today. Curtis, last night I had one of the hardest and saddest moments. I knew it would come, but I was able to give myself self-love and support that I needed to deal with this. Thanks for the work that was in a great mental and emotional state to face this and to be okay with it." He's like, "God put you in my life at the perfect moment. I can't wait till our next session. Blessing, my friend." Basically, he was able, because we had people, when you read that, you might not see it, but when he said the give myself self-love, and also he says, thanks for the work that we've done, and it's okay for me to be okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One of the learnings he got from part of the session is it's okay for me not to have perfection. It's okay for me to be who I am. And then as soon as he went home, he had to deal with the situation, which then after only 5 hours of we doing this work, he was able to like I made it through it, Curtis, because of the fact that now I have a different way of being. He said, I'm 2.0 now.
Oh, I love that. What a cool. I was actually saying before, I've got a bit of a short fuse, so I might be booking in with you. Hey guys, quick pause to talk about Opus Clip, one of my favorite tools for creating content without the stress. If you've ever spent hours editing videos wishing there was an easier way, Opus Clip is your solution.
Their AI engine takes your raw clips and turns them into share-ready videos in under a minute. No editing skills required, no headaches, no endless hours at your computer.
Seriously, it's like having a professional editor in your pocket. You can create more content, experiment with formats, and share it instantly, all while saving a ton of time.
And if you want to get started with a great sign-up bonus while supporting the show, just use the link in the description.
All right, back to today's episode. We're about to drop more insights you won't want to miss. I'm interested to hear a little bit more about the practical steps that you use for the framework, the LGET framework. What are the steps that you go through with your clients for that?
Basically, you think about learning. Learning for me is now learning what actually drives your behavior, learning and understanding the power of the subconscious mind, and also learning what are the blocks that are actually preventing you from actually becoming the best version of yourself. So once you learn and be clear and acknowledge that what these things are, part of growth is really acknowledging, hey, I'm feeling this or I'm going through this. That's the acknowledgement. That's the learning part. Then once we learn, we grow by now letting go of all the limiting beliefs, all the negative emotions that's now preventing us from becoming the best version of ourselves. All of us carry all this baggage. Think about someone carrying baggage that no longer serves them, but for years and years and years has been piled on. Everything from, as I was telling you earlier, of me being two, when that success is hard and difficult, I've been carrying that around for 60 years. So all of us carrying around this baggage that we're carrying. So what we do is we help you release all of this baggage in one day, not 5 years, not 30 days, but one day. That's the whole ideal of growing, is releasing all the negative emotions. We do it in the first day. Now, what we do then to expand, we now get some clarity on your goals and your dreams and who you are, your new values of way of being. And then the transformation is now conditioning the new behavior. My philosophy is that growth comes from now conditioning the new behavior that we actually, repetition is conditioning a new behavior. So what I create for my clients is what I call a bespoke daily mental supplement. And what a bespoke daily mental supplement is, it is a customized meditation that now helps you to reinforce the new beliefs that we just installed in the first couple of days.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm. Well, can we talk about your work with, I guess, sales teams and bigger groups, organizations, particularly, I guess, mature ones? So how do you identify or help them identify blind spots within their organization or their teams? And how do you go about dissolving them for the group so that the business momentum increases?
Part of my philosophy, Steve, is that if we can actually change the philosophy of the person at the top, then it's easily filtered down through the other individuals. So what I try to do first is work with the CEO to kind of massage their new beliefs, because think about, if it is like, just like us, if I have a blind spot, then that's going to cause a blind spot for the whole group. So first, we want to work with the CEO. Then now, if individuals on the team want to work with me, then I work with individuals. But I try to start at the top first, and then allow what I do to filter down, because of the fact that my type of coaching is not geared. We can do some great stuff in a big arena, but the real work for me and for them is when we're sitting one-on-one doing, because everything is bespoke. It's like for you, it's customized just for you. I was thinking about that today. It's like the young man I'm working with now, I'm like, wow, I didn't do this in the last session for the other person. Why? It's because he needed something totally different than what somebody else needed. And so I basically now customize it for them. But going back to answer your question, we like to start at the top. We can motivate and give people some great ideas to get some movement in their behavior on a stage or on a big platform. But real change, the type of change that I like to see, normally comes from a one-on-one.
Yeah. Just on that, the higher up people go, they're more successful. Do you find that they still have the same problems as everyone else, or the same challenges, or the same blind spots?
They don't. Yeah.
Or is it more?
Everybody has. It's not. I don't think it's more. It's just the fact that this is the thing about it. When I tell individuals is that is that, number one, we all have blind spots, right? Everybody, something that's in our lives that actually becomes a blind spot. The difference between a blind spot that's preventing you from moving forward or a blind spot that I can see, sense, and feel, but you know what? It's fine. We just say, right, if I had a mole on my face and I'm like, it's not cancerous. I really don't like it, but I deal with it. I don't need to do anything about it. So that's fine. Or I have something in my way that's preventing me from going to the next level. That's when they call someone like me. Meaning, like, regardless it is. I mean, if you're making 6 figures, you want to do 7 figures. You're making 7 figures, you want to do 8 figures. It doesn't matter. We all have things that actually prevents us from actually going to the next level. The key to it is going back to what we talked about before, is the authenticity of being aware that, I need help and I'm willing to do something about it. And that's the key to it. It was like, if you have something that's bothering you, but you're not willing to invest in it, it's not bothering you enough to invest in it. So
I like that. I'm interested to know what are some of the common patterns, because we're all human, so we all have a lot of commonality in that space. What are some of the common patterns that you see that limit performance, and how do you help CEOs and leaders shift those?
Basically, the common patterns is usually, it's interesting. When on my podcast, what I found was a lot of people who are starting businesses is money.
Yes, that makes sense.
Well, because think about it. Because one of the reasons is money is because we grew up. I mean, like, think about going back to my personal. Like, I grew up in rural Mississippi, so and in the Bible Belt, and money, quote unquote, biblically, money is the root of all evil, or rich people do bad things with money, and like, money takes me out of balance, or if I make too much money, then I'm going to lose my family. Well, no, that's not true, basically. And that's what some of the beliefs are. So some of them are around money. Most is, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not capable, imposter syndrome, that feeling that, wow, I don't feel like I'm good enough. I'm not lovable. So those are the major ones that people feel like, I'm not good enough to get that position. I'm not capable of doing more. I'm not, those to me are some of the common ones.
All right, Curtis, can we zoom out a little bit and look at the business environment as a whole? So from your vantage point, what are the most, exciting opportunities for leaders who do master mindset and sales and transformation? And I guess the flip side of that, what are the biggest traps for leaders to avoid now?
Well, I think the right now, it's, especially in the United States, is probably one of the most challenging times that we've ever had. With the political thing, and with people are woke or asleep or whatever they want to call themselves. It's like, and that's really challenging. But this is the thing about it. And this is what I tell people. This is the thing for me, being African American, is that this is nothing new for me. I mean, I was born and raised in Mississippi in the 60s when I went to JCPenney, they had a sign for colored and a sign for white on the water fountains. So this is nothing new. I mean, when I was in high school, we didn't have black and white dances. The blacks did their dance and the whites did their dance. So this is nothing new for me as an African American. Is like, so I know the rules. The rules are, you do the best you can, you be the best you are, and then you'll get business, regardless of what's going on around you. The thing about it is, one of the challenges that we have, the biggest challenge we have today, is that we will start looking at the storm.
Yes.
And one of the challenges that we have is that, and I tell people all the time, the storm is always raging. There's always a storm somewhere. It's just according where your focus is. So the whole idea in the midst of this storm that we currently in now is because I'm telling you, get sucked in so quickly. So I had to take it off my phone. All the notifications are off. When at night, we don't watch commercials. We mute them. You're like, wow, that drastic? Yeah. Because of the fact that one of the biblical principles is that you need to protect your mind. You protect who you are, because it's so important, because negativity is everywhere.
So true. I actually took everything off my phone recently, and I actually have my own thoughts now. This is lovely.
but social media is a good one for that, right? It draws you into, and you've got that saying, the rage algorithm.
Rage
right?
algorithm is all the rage right now. Yeah, no, that's super powerful. I want to shift into drilling down on your industry. So, coaching, human potential, it's become very popular for a good reason. What are you seeing as like the strongest and weakest elements of that industry? And what excites you and what scares you?
Well, I think the biggest challenge in this industry, this is a Mississippi colloquium, is that everybody and their mama wants to be a coach.
I like that.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be a coach. They like, oh yeah, I had a failure yesterday, so now I'm going to be a coach. I did this, and I want to be a coach. And so everybody uses the term, and so the label for coaches now is like, it's a dime a dozen. Everybody are coaches. People stop working. I'm a coach now. What do you coach? Well, I'm just a coach. So one of the challenges that we have is that there's so much noise out there.
Yeah.
It's so much noise out there that is kind of hard to kind of find your authentic voice in the midst of all this noise. And that's one of the challenges, even as what I do. But that's why I shifted my thing from my own personal podcast to come started on other podcasts to let people know what I do is different. It's not just coaching, it's true transformation. And that's one of the reasons I do what I do is that because what I have to offer is very unique. I basically have more of a holistic approach. I approach things from inside out versus from outside in. So one of the major challenges is there's so many voices out there. Everybody coaches these days, and most of them are not qualified to be coaching anyone. Just because they had a failure yesterday to think that they now can coach people on failures, or Now I met a person who was divorced 3 times, so they became a coach on relationships. Okay.
That's so interesting.
You haven't had a successful relationship, so now you want to coach people on relationships.
There are a few out there like business coaches, and they actually haven't started a business, and you're like,
Yeah.
Good questions.
Yeah. Can we talk about young people for a moment, Curtis, too? I guess I'm talking, leaders, executives in that 25 to 35 year age bracket. What do you see as maybe the top 3 mindset shifts they have to make if they want to, accelerate businesses and lead businesses and have great careers?
I think one of them is they're going to really have to fall in love with AI. It's like that's part of the game now. I mean, it's not, you can't get away from it. It's like, and I thank God for it myself in my coaching practice. And the other thing is that one of the biggest challenges they're going to have, and we've all had all along, is not just a 25-year-old problem, is the fact that finding your voice, being authentic to who you are, and being okay with that. And that's big, because most people now are miserable because they look around and seeing what people calling success. And most of the time I've seen it where people take, like I told you before, they take pictures of themselves in front of these nice cars, and they don't own a nice car. They don't even own anything. So yeah, that's one of the challenges. I would say number one, kind of falling in love with AI. How can it now increase your productivity as a businessman or business person? And also being authentic to who you are. I think it's the two, most, to me, that can definitely kind of sink their teeth in now.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. It's, I was actually writing something just personally about that exact thing, about that, coming back to your values and being really honest about your identity and finding that true authenticity. And I think it's really interesting because what happens is I think we go and we work towards these things that are shooting all over our, social media. I'm like, oh, well, I need to have the big house because everyone on the internet's telling me I need this big thing. And then you get there and then you might be proud, but you don't really feel empty and kind of like, oh, well, what's next? And it's because it's not aligned to you. It's it feels there's a bit of a hollowness to it. Yeah. So it's so important to go back to okay, my values can be mine, not the shoulds, but they're mine and they are perfect as they are. They don't,
Right. And that's so true. I mean, you remember going back to the story, when I became number one in the world, is like, that's what I felt. It's like, wow, this is what I kind of said to myself. You mean to tell me I worked this hard? I stayed up early, woke up early, stayed up late. And this is what it is.
Yes.
It's like, I had this big letdown and with a couple other things, but absolutely right. Is that's so important that we just, I think people are looking for authentic voices out there.
Yes.
They really are.
Yeah. I want to follow up from that and ask you about the hustle culture that is around entrepreneurship. Do you think it's toxic or necessary for success? And how do you work through that in your own life?
I think one of my mentors told me many years ago, he said, it's okay to be out of balance to get in balance.
Ooh, that's a good point.
What that means is that there's a time in our lives that we have to get out of balance, right? When I'm starting a new business, I can't be in balance. I can't look at it as a 9 to 5 and think it's going to work. But it's okay with permission from myself that for the time being, for this lot of time, I'm going to be out of balance. Also, so I have communicated that with the people that are around me so that what we call is the ecology around what you want, is it congruent with the people that are around you? So when a person sets a goal and they said, I want to do 5 times as much as I did last year. And then one of the things is that, okay, is that going to be okay with your kids? Is that going to be okay with your wife? Is that going to be okay with the people that are around you? Because if you go so far out of balance, that means you're going to lose everybody. So you have to say, is that important to you? And so that it's okay to be out of balance for a period of time, but you don't want to stay out of balance. You want to get some type of balance back in. So the hustle mentality is definitely we need it because of the fact that we're getting started. That's how momentum starts, right? I mean, I was running track and field and I was a quarter miler. In the first 15, 20, 30 yards, I'm sprinting to build momentum. And then while I'm on the back stretch, now I can put myself in a relaxed position to kind of coast through the back stretch. And then I'm coming home. I'm going to give it some more effort to bring it home. So that's okay if you're strategically situating your business so that you know where you are on the race and what parts you need to be sprinting, what parts you need to be relaxing, what parts you need to kind of put forth a little bit more effort. I think that's what it should look like.
Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah,
hey? Yeah, that's good.
Especially the running analogy. It's like, you know, when it's at the end, you're like, I just got to push.
I got to push.
Yeah.
That brings some pragmatism to that conundrum for many people, right? So, yeah, I love that. All right, probably last question from me, Curtis. It's been a fantastic talk with you today. So, but looking back when you first started, what advice do you wish someone had given you about merging the deep personal work with business metrics?
I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking about it now, and what I would probably say is what we talked about earlier, is getting to know as much as you possibly can about what you're getting into before you get into it. I don't think, but at the same time, you know what, Steve, if I'd have known too much about what I'm doing, I probably said, I'm 50 plus years old. I don't know if I want to start this or not, but I think I think being at least more aware of what you are actually going for so that when you do hit the setbacks and the heartbreaks and some of the failures and some of the learning experiences, it's not as bad as it was, some of the things I had to go through.
Yeah.
Okay. So Curtis, now for some fun. At the end of each episode, we like to play a little game. They're just some quick rapid fire questions I'm going to throw at you, just under 3-word answers. The first one you may have already touched on, but we're just going to have a go. All right. What was your first job?
My first job. Well, I've been working all my life. I mowed lawns. And I mean, at 9 or 10, I was hauling hay.
There you go.
So I've been working all of my life. Yeah.
What's one thing that you could not live without?
That's a good one. Probably my wife.
Oh, good answer.
Correct answer. Correct answer, right? Play that part back to her as well.
34 years and counting.
Yeah. Oh, congrats. That's awesome. iPhone or Android?
I'm an Android guy and an iPhone. I have both.
So what?
Wow. I have my business phone is an Android and my family phone is an Apple. So
there you go.
But I prefer Android.
Okay. Are you an early riser or a night owl?
Early riser. Oh my God. Yeah, at 10:30, I'm going down. At 5:30, I'm up. I'm ready to go.
And what was the last book that you read?
The last book I read, probably I reread a book on timeline therapy, believe it or not.
Ooh.
I was doing some research, and Dr. Tad James, who actually formulated his son registered mental and emotional release, but he coined it as timeline therapy. So I think I reread that book just to get some new nuggets and new ideas.
Sometimes it's nice to come back to old books. I like to do that too.
Yeah.
So we are just about out of time. For the last question, where can people find you and your business?
They can find me online. They can go to Bespoke Human Potential Coaching or www.curtismccullom.com. And there they can go to my landing page. They'll see everything about me, and they'll see the science and the systems that are what I do. It's a full explanation of mine and all the coaching, different types of programs and coaching things that I have. That's the first place. And then they can also reach out to me on LinkedIn and all other social media platforms. I'm on all of them, so they can DM me on those platforms also.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Curtis. I like to sort of take out what I've gotten from the interview, but there's so many things but I felt it was very serendipitous for me because I've been leaning into a lot of the value work and really figuring out who I am, because I've got a lot of shoulds and try to shake all of that. And having this conversation has really solidified a lot of the things that I've been sort of learning and leaning into. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Incredible. What about you, Steve? What did you take away?
Again, lots. I think what really landed for me was that piece around taking the mask off and being authentic, and your authentic energy in the world makes you a lot more magnetic. So that really landed for me. Yeah.
Yeah, and I loved your shaping around money and the energy exchange. I think that was really powerful too. Yeah.
Well, I think it's important, man. It's because going back to that, because people think money. That's why coaches normally charge not enough, is because they think what they're getting is the value has to come back. If the value doesn't come back, then the energy drops off. That means if I'm giving out energy, and if I don't get enough energy back, then somebody's going to suffer.
Yes. Yeah. It's not.
And so it's the whole idea is having this balance. Like when people give you a gift and you says, "Oh no, don't give it to me." And that deflates them because they need to exchange that energy to make them feel what they want to feel, what they need to feel. So take those gifts and be good about it and let them so they can have that energy to want to give more.
Yes. Love that. Well, Curtis, again, thank you so, so much. This has been an incredible conversation. I've got lots to go and learn now.
Thanks, Curtis.
Yeah, you'll be hearing from me. So that is all we've got time for. Wherever you're listening, thank you so much for joining us on The Business Game. And we'll see you all next time. That's a wrap for today's episode. If you enjoyed what you heard, make sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes.
For more insights, strategies, and stories to help move the needle on your business, we'll meet you back here on Saturday. Thanks for tuning in to The Business Game.
If you like what you heard, make sure to subscribe on YouTube and follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn to stay connected.
A big thank you to our major sponsor, TraffTrack. for powering today's episode.
And join us again on the next episode of The Business Game, a
A podcast that moves the needle.